Hi knitting friends, Shaina Bilow here. In today's video, I am going to demonstrate how to connect the hood with a 3-needle bind off of the hooded scarf. So here I've got the hood from the hooded scarf. I've completed the decreasing at the top to round out the top of the hood. And what I'm going to do next is, with the right side facing, I am going to sandwich the two sides together. So right here, I've got the outside of the hood connecting with the outside of the hood, and I'm looking at the inside of the hood here and the inside of the hood here. So I've got my right sides together and my wrong sides facing out. I happen to have a stitch marker here at the halfway point, so I can just pull this needle and scoot the stitches from each half of the hood. Oop, I dropped a stitch. Up onto each needle tip of my circular needle. If you worked this pattern with straight needles, you'll have to put one half of your stitches onto another straight needle. All right, so once you've got your two sets of stitches aligned, grab another needle. So this happens to be a double pointed needle in a size 10. You can use a straight needle, a circular needle, whatever. And we're going to begin the 3-needle bind off. So to start the bind off, I am going to insert my third needle into the first stitch on the front needle, and then into the first stitch on the second needle. So this third needle is in both stitches right now. I'm going to wrap my yarn around that third needle for a knit and bring the new stitch out and out. And then I remove both stitches from each of the left-hand needles. So basically what I'm doing is I'm knitting the first two stitches together. The first stitch from the front needle, the first stitch from the back needle, get knit together, and then both can come off. Simultaneous to that, I am also going to be bringing the first stitch on the right-hand needle. Every time I have two stitches here, I'm going to bring the first one over and off for a bind off. So the first step is combine the two stitches from the left-hand needle, and then the second step is bind off the first stitch on the right-hand needle. So you knit those two together, take them off, and then bind off. Work these two together. Here's the new stitch, take those off, and bind off. And just like how you're binding off any project, you want to make sure you're not pulling the string too tight, pulling the yarn too tight. You want to make sure you kind of have a flexible bind off here. It wouldn't be the end of the world if the bind off was too tight here at the top of the hood, but it's always nice to give yourself flexibility options. We go, and as you can see, I've got, well, maybe the yarn will last. I'm worried I have a little game of yarn chicken going on right now. We'll see. It looks like I've lost this game of yarn chicken. Unfortunately, I have a little bit more yarn here. So to attach the new strand of yarn to continue the bind off, I am going to leave the old yarn here, insert my needle into the two stitches on the left, and drape the new yarn over my third needle and pull it through. That's it. I don't tie knots. I don't do any doubling up of stitches or anything funky like that. I just simply attach the new yarn. Or I shouldn't even say attach, I just start knitting with the new yarn. And then when I go to weave in the tails later, I will close up any little gaps between the last stitch in the old yarn and the first stitch in the new yarn. But here we go, I'm still binding off. Now I'm at the last stitch. I work the last stitch on each needle together, and then finish the bind off. And go and cut your yarn, and all you have to do to fasten off is pull this loop up, until the tail comes out. And again, I will weave in these ends to close up any gaps, but this is now the finished off top of the hood on the hooded scarf. Happy knitting!